The road, huh? Let's get the show on the road.
Sure.
Thanks for coming on. Anyway, we got BirdMan for the podcast. From I always get your teams confused. Pizza Dog or Pizza Dog?
He is a dog, the
The
original
original
team.
team. Pizza, who got a shout
Yeah.
out I saw from PPD, which is kind of lit.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, got it to the wrong player, but
Typical PPD.
well, it was nice from NADCL to give us the shout out for being the first team sign up, and then PPD for shouting for JT. I think he's confused. He thinks that's JT that was playing with newbie, and we brought him to Pizza Dog. I'm not sure. Like, I memed about it on NDL before, so if that's true, then it would be nice to continue the meme.
That would be nice, but he left Pepe hands.
Yep.
So how did you? How did you get into competitive Dota? Let's just get right into it.
Competitive Dota or Dota in general?
You can do both. Well, let's do both.
Okay, so I first started playing Dota. I started with Dota 1. So at the beginning, I used to play like RTS, Warcraft. One time I was like in an internet cafe in Jordan. I'm originally from Jordan, so we always go to internet cafe. We used to play at that time CS 1.1 or 1.6. And I saw a guy who was playing Warcraft, and we used to play a lot of like the custom maps. And I saw a guy like playing Shadow Fiend or something like that, and he was like dropping a meteor, the invoker spell right now. I was like, what's this custom game called? It was like Defense of the Ancients. So I tried to play it a couple of times. I never got the hang of it. Like I remember once I picked Juggernaut, went AFK, like I was about the game. I started like watching a movie and then got back to my computer. I was like, the game's still going, like what the hell is going on? And then I never played it until one time I went to my friend's house after school, and he was like, oh, let's go to the internet cafe, because it's like 5-minute walk. I was like, yeah, sure, let's go. And two other people of his friends, they were like, oh, let's play 2v2 Dota. I'm like, I don't play this game. I was like, I will show you. I was like, okay, let's do that. So he forgot to put AP. So I don't know if you remember back in Dota 1.
Never
Or
played
whoever
Dota 1,
is watching.
so no clue.
So you have to write the mood. If you don't put like like enter dash AP, like the blue player, then the game will be normal. So you only can pick from the radiant, and you can't pick from the like depending on which side you are. So he forgot to do that. So we only had to play with radiant heroes, and I was like, okay. And he was like trying to think what to pick hero for himself, and then help me out. And for some reason, I picked anti-mage because I like the icon. I was like, okay, I'm gonna play this hero. And it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, like this hero, blah. And I started like talking about it, like, dude, whatever, let's just try it. I remember we played the game. I don't know what happened. And then we started playing some CSGO, and we went back to his house, and he was like, okay, let me show you how to play. So he showed me how to play Zeus. And it was like, okay, you do this, you do that, you buy this first item, and then you go rush Aghanim's. And Aghanim's recipe was similar to Octarine Core right now. Like, Ags was a very expensive item. So I was like, okay, the next thing, like literally after like 15 minutes, I went back home, I called my friend, I was like, dude, I'm gonna challenge you 1v1 Dota right now.
Okay.
Literally, I'm gonna challenge you right now. And he was like, okay, sure. At that time, you either used to play on battle.net, but because in Jordan we had like lots of issue with like the proxy servers, so we found out there was a software called Hamachi.
Oh, Hamachi,
which now bought by LogMeIn. So we had the server between us, and we started a game. And he picked Broodmother, I went Zeus, and that's how I started. We started like playing a lot, and then I became a good friend from a guy from school. Okay. I've known him for like 10 years, but we never been that close. But that year, like we became in the same section, and then we got involved into gaming, so we started playing a lot.
Okay.
And that was like I was like in eighth grade, so that was like in 2006.
Old man.
Yeah, I'm an old man. According to the survey that we did, I'm the oldest player in NDL.
Well, how did you get into competitive play?
So so yeah, it's continued. Like we started like playing the Dota 1, and the last 2 years in school we had like long breaks, like 2 classes break and in between recess. So we had like close to 3 hours. So we used to go to the internet cafe between school, go play a couple of games of Dota, and go back. And a couple of times we got back late to the class, and the teacher would be like, "Why we're so late? The class already started like 5 minutes ago." We're like, "Oh, we were stuck in a Dota game." We're like,
Okay,
"Get out!" We're
what?
like, "Okay." Like we were rushing to this
Yeah.
class. We had to take a taxi, and we were like, "Get out!" We're like, "Okay, can you give us the fare for the taxi because we paid we paid for it?" And then and that was the case for like 2 years. So getting to Dota 2, my friend got an invitation for Dota from I think Dotalicious or something, like one of those
Okay.
websites. And he never noticed that he got free invitations to give to his friends. So I was put in a spot in 2012 to either upgrade for Mist of Pandaria and World of Warcraft or buy Dota 2. Because at that time, you either get an invitation to Dota
You
or
buy it.
you buy the subscription.
Okay.
Yep, you buy $30. So at that time, I paid for it. I started like playing a little bit, but I got into watching competitive during the China and the EU qualifiers for TI3,
Okay.
and that's when everything started. And after TI3, like me and my friends, we got like so excited because the games were so high. The tournament in general was insane, and my friend was a very good player at that time. I was okay-ish. I never took it that seriously.
Yeah.
And then after TI, me and my other two friends, also from back home, we decided, okay, let's try and make a team. Let's have fun. Like we always go to internet cafes like 3 times a week or something like that, and we play always. Let's have fun. And then we tried to find two players. We got two players actually from Denmark.
Oh, okay. Denmark.
Yeah, like
Okay.
at that time, yeah, and that time I was like maybe your age, and one of the guys was like close to 30 years old. So
Even older, man. What the fuck?
yeah, but those two guys were insane. One of them used to play off lane, the other one used to play mid, and we started like playing together, like scrimming and scheduling stuff, like, and it was fun. Like especially like the internet cafe that I used to go to and do all the scrims. That's the place where Yabzer was playing. There's another professional gamer called Hook from Jordan, and Bakimono or Firo. He played for with Complexity a little bit.
Okay.
So most of the time they will be like sitting next to us or on the second floor, So we're always like close to those people.
So you were close to. Have you like talked to him or like watched him play or?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did like for the longest time.
Okay.
Like at that time, they used to play in-house leagues. So I remember another guy called Hook. One time he was like playing a game and he was facing Fata in mid, and he like dumpstered him out, like watching it live, which had like a very nice feeling. So like, and that's how it started. I think our first team name was called Vertigo, which is a cool name. I thought it was a cool name. I don't know how I came up with it, and apparently there was like a very old vintage movie, and I stole the logo. Like, okay, that's our team, and this is our photo, and we started playing. And with that team, we played, I think, three tournaments, like an ECL Weekly Cup. There was like a Ghosty tournament, but it was like based in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
But we got lucky. The first game was with the European team, so we played on European server and we won it. But the next game we lost, and then they played against Vici Gaming, which they ended up winning the tournament. And at that time they had CTY, FY, Fenrir, and another two people.
Okay.
And yeah, and we won the ECL Weekly Cup, which was fun because I called the the internet cafe. I'm like, dude, I need 3 PCs. We have a tournament today and stuff. And we're like, I need it in the first floor in that section. And like a couple of like Yabzor's friend and the top level players at that time, they were like, oh, what the fuck? They took our PCs. Like, this is where we always sit. I was like, dude, we have a tournament. I was like, what? What fucking tournament are you playing in? I was like, just fuck off, dude. We're playing.
Well, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's how it started.
Okay.
And then like we stopped like playing together, but me and my friends, we kept doing that. And then after a while, a couple of other people we met in the internet cafe had switched from League of Legends to Dota. So they were like 3 players, and it was me and my other friend. So we used to always go there like every day nearly and play like 5 to 6 games. And usually on Thursdays, because that's our weekend,
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Friday, Saturday. So we used to go on Thursday from like 12 a.m. in the morning until 6 a.m. just
God
nonstop.
damn. The grind is
Yeah,
real.
that was one of the best, because you go out with your friends,
Yeah.
you have good time, you go for a cup of drinks, and then you go there and you keep grinding for the whole night.
Okay. How'd you find your
Yeah.
team now?
So how I found my team? So it started with Clankers. So the way I met Clankers in 2016, I was looking for a team, and I played with a couple of guys for 2 games, and I played well in one of those. And a guy called Excellent Connor, I don't know if you know
No
him.
clue.
He added me, and I never talked to him. And then after a while, I started feeling some pain in my wrist.
Mhm.
And then I diagnosed myself that I have carpal tunnel, went to the doctor, he approved, he said, like, yeah, you have carpal tunnel. So I'm like, okay, I had to like rethink of what I'm gonna do, because like I always sit on the computer and it involves my wrist at my job. I'm also at the computer or in the lab doing pipetting and stuff, so it also involves my wrist. So I wanted to help people like to involve, because I always been a captain and drafting for my teams. So I was like, okay, if I can't play, I will try to find some teams to coach them, help them to make their drafts much better and stuff. And there was like an organization called, Damage or something like that. They're so crappy. They're like 2K players. They wanted me to help them, and every time I'm online on Dota, I need to be on TeamSpeak. I'm like, dude, I don't close Dota. It's always 24/7. I'm not gonna be in TeamSpeak the whole time. So I was like, fuck you, and I left. And I saw like Excellent in a party with them. I was like, dude, what are you doing with those? Those are trash players. And he was like, oh, I'm trying to join their team. I was like, you're gonna be playing with 2K. And then he was like, how about we start a team? And at that time, like I took like a 3-week rest, so my wrist started to feel better.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, let's try it. So me and him auditioned, we tried to play with Clankers and Speed and Marcel Dog. That was their carry player for support roles. We played 1 game. It went fine, but they liked the previous players that they had, so they stayed with them.
Okay.
And then we decided to play. One time they asked us to play a scrim, and we just like, Excellent asked me, oh, dude, want to scrim? I was like, okay, sure. I called my friend. He's a 3K player. Like, dude, let's come and play. And I was looking for like a carry player. I was like, hey, want to do a tryout? It's a good time. We were playing a scrim. We added him, and there was like another guy who's close to 5K at that time. His name was Pip-Boy. I was like, okay, come dude, let's play offlane. And we dumpstered them in both games, which was pretty awesome. And at that time, I started the strat with Shadow Demon, Elder Titan, before it was an actual meta picks. Like in that draft, I picked Shadow Demon and Centaur because of the combo when Alliance did it in one of their tournaments. Because of Reflect with the towers, it will damage them, and with Shadow Demon Illusions, you can damage the tower much faster. I was going for that strat, but because also Elder Titan was one of my good supports at that time, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick Elder Titan. And I saw the combination working with them so perfectly. I was like, damn, this is very good. And in 2 weeks, the qualifiers for for TI6 at that time, and I saw like everybody picking them. So at that time, we became friends with Speed and Clankers. I had like a Discord channel, and they always like stayed there. Like,
Okay.
I don't think they had like their own Discord channel. Like everybody used to be mine. And I kept like playing with them every now and then. They made like a couple of teams. Sometimes they needed like a stand-in player, so I sent in for them a couple of times. And others, I will be like opening Dota buff for the players they're playing against, checking their stats, blah blah blah, getting
So
all
you
the
kind of
information that they
coached
need.
for them.
It was not a definitive role,
Yeah.
but I did it like a couple of times. Yeah, and then I think I met Moss. I played with him 1 or 2 times in FPL when
FPL
it
when it
was a
was
thing.
good. Oh,
Yeah, at that time, Pinko sent me a message. He was like, "Hey, dude, want to join FPL? It's for 5K plus player." I'm like, "Sure, but I'm not 5K." I was like, "What the fuck? You're not 5K?" Because at that time, I always like played with Speed's
yeah.
clan because I always like played party. I don't like to play solo. So he was like, "Huh? Like since when? Like I always thought you were 5K." I was like, "Thanks, but I'm not." And I was like, "Okay, whatever. I know you're a good player." And I played with Mossa like 2 times, but I started playing with him more after one time Clackers invited me to play with Zeri, and he added me, and then he was playing one of those like challenges in Face It,
Yeah.
and Mossa played, and then he added me, and we started playing together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how'd you find?
CJ,
Say that again?
CJ the first, yeah, I was saying CJ the first time I played with him was when we played NDL, or a day before NDL.
Oh, okay.
JT, I played with him in a party. The first, like with a different stack, he played me in one of the games, like so hard, so I muted him.
Yikes.
But yeah, and I think like I got a wrong impression of him at that time because he was so excited that he
Yeah.
bought his Juggernaut set, his expensive Juggernaut set, and I was like, okay, whatever, dude, just stop bragging. And then I met him through Mossy, and it was, I don't think he remembers the old game, so I think that was good.
How did you find NDL?
You need to ask Mossy that question. I think Zeri knew about it, so he mentioned it to Mossy.
Okay.
That's how it started. But for me, I was at work. He sent me a message on Discord. Hey, want to play in the league? I was like, yeah, sure, wherever. And for me, that's how it started. Yeah,
Okay.
like I had no idea like what's happening.
So you guys are one of the most controversial teams in the league.
In what way?
In a way where you guys thought this was like a joke of a league that you can just run over people. You Mossy kinda gets into it with a lot of people. Why is that? Why'd you think coming into league this was not, you can just take over and automatically crush it?
So I think the way it started, like the team that we're playing with, it started like as a fun stack. Like, oh, there's this league, let's play it for fun.
Yeah.
You know, it was never that serious. And that's how it started. And then I think with talks, maybe with Jerry, I'm not sure, they were like, oh, I think we're the best 2 teams joining this league. And that's how it started. Like, oh, we're the best 2 teams in this league, and we're gonna come and win all the games, and the final is gonna be like the 1-2 position is gonna be between both teams. And I think it started this way. It was never like intentional. It was only like just to create rivalry between teams, just to like make you give you the urge to perform better. You know, sometimes some teams or some players prefer to create some chaos around them, just to feel that they're better than the other person, and to have like more urge to beat them and to perform better than them. And I think that's the approach that I started. But other than that, like, to be honest, like we always say that like we really had fun in this league. Like the first couple of games, maybe we were playing for fun, but after that it became more serious.
Okay. Um, what are your thoughts? Did your thoughts change? Like, do you think there's more competition in this league than you originally thought?
At first, I came like I had no idea what to expect. Then I started seeing the teams that you're playing against, and I was like, oh, like this team, I know a couple of their players. That team, I have a couple of the players added, and so forth. I was like, okay, that seems like a very close close league.
Okay.
Like the skill wise is very close. But a lot of the teams that didn't do well, most of the time it was because of their draft or their draft execution, which they lacked in. And I think that's why some of the teams didn't do that well. But in general, like skill wise, it's very close. Maybe this epoch is a bit higher than the rest in some aspects. Other than that, I think we're all even to a certain degree.
What team that you're in? We're in playoffs now. What team are you most afraid of after the whole season group stage is done? Who are you most afraid of to go against in playoffs?
I'm not afraid, rather than which team is gonna give us the more challenge.
Okay.
So for me, like after like the moment, I think like a week before we were planning to play against you guys, at that time when things became more serious, and I started doing research, getting information, doing my graphs, like tables, win rate percentage, ban percentages, and all that information. So I have like for like 3 to 4 teams, I have this database on them. So for me, I'm not afraid, but what I'm looking for, like which team is going to give us more challenge in drafting, because as a lot of teams say, like you can pick whatever you want, but how you want to put those 5 heroes together to make them work. Like I'm doing this work, but I'm still not drafting, because if I want to, in my previous teams, I was like, if I like this like combination, I will always go within that direction and change like a couple of heroes around it. But I feel like I'm a better person to give information about draft when I'm not in control. So and that's what happened like against you guys. Like I came with a plan. I told Mossy we should do 1, 2, 3. They're gonna do one like this and that. And game 1 it worked perfect, like insanely well. Like I don't know if you remember or game one was like outplayed, outclassed in a certain way. Game 2, I had a certain feeling of what's gonna happen. We didn't speak up about it, and things went sideways a little bit. But as I said, like I'm not afraid of any team, but there's most probably this POG might give us the most trouble.
Okay.
Other than that, I think we can manage with the rest.
Well, are you gonna play next season? Are you guys liking the liking the league? Do you plan on playing next season?
Yeah, definitely. I think we might have. We have not talking about it yet, but we always like spoken highly about it. Maybe you have like a couple of things we want from the league to change, or some like a slight approaches.
Okay.
But in general, the general aspect of the league actually it's pretty good.
I don't know if you've seen or heard of the new teams coming in next season. Have you heard of any of the new teams coming in? And because there's a lot of disbands this season. Like my team disbanded, Polar Ace disbanded, a lot of teams disbanded. Have you seen any of the new teams coming in?
So I saw a couple of combination of Polar Ace.
Okay.
And the reason, I think one of their games they played against Zeri's team, Dizapog, and it was spectatable. So I saw the game, and I saw like Fatal Ono destroying Dizapog with their mid player that they were trying at that time. And then we played against them before our official match for NDL, and that's why like there was like a lot of like all chatting happening in that game.
Okay.
It was the reason because of the scrims that happened the day before.
Oh, that's new information we did not know.
yes, so a lot of people like thought we started
Yeah. Everyone was
the shit talking
confused.
or whatever, or the old chat. But I told a couple of the admins like I'm not with or against, but 1, 2, 3 happened the day before in a
Ah,
scrim,
okay.
and that's why like when the game started, a couple of the players started like all chatting, and we're like, please don't all chat until game 2 ended, and then whatever happens
Oh,
happened. But
so you guys aren't the bad guys. Sounds like police, or at least a few.
it's not that like we're playing
Yeah.
scrims, so in scrims you
Of
try
course.
something out. It might work, it might not work. If it sometimes it does not work, and you'll get stomped in like 15 minutes, and that's what happened in 2 hour games. And some like all chatting happened, and they started like flaming us like, what are you doing? Like, dude, it's a scrim, just there's no need to do that. So I think a couple of the players that played in the official game came with the mindset like, oh, we destroyed them yesterday, we can destroy them again, but because we had like all the information ready and
Yeah.
all the my graphs and my tables, we knew what we want to do. And like game 1, we destroyed all 3 lanes. And for example, like Cello couldn't he can't go to any lane. Like he was playing Timber, so if you want to go bot lane, he was playing against Doom. If he wants to go top lane, he was against a Lifestealer, Brewmaster, and Tusk or wherever. So all his 3 lanes were destroyed, so he can't like swap. So we cornered them in the draft in a very smart way, and that's why I think they felt
They were gonna win.
pissed
Yeah.
at the end because they couldn't make it when the day before they destroyed us.
Now, since you've seen some variations of next season's Polar Ace, do you think the season 3 will have harder competition and more? Okay.
Definitely, with every combination of players, you're gonna have better teams. It still will depend. Like you can have 5 great players, but if you have bad drafts, you have bad drafts.
Okay.
And you need to balance the way you draft. You need to identify your at least 1 to 2 main players in your team and play around them. You can't have like, okay, you have like those three greedy cores and just draft them their heroes, and their support needs to like grab everything they can find and give their resources.
Now, like you said earlier, what do you want to see changed in the league? You're gonna play next
Everything
season.
he
What
needs,
would you like to see
yeah,
changed?
in the
Yeah.
league. So in, like the general concept, I think it's pretty good. Maybe if we got more teams, we can put them into 2
Yeah.
groups. Maybe like we can do like pack. We can like contribute each team like a couple of dollars, and the winner will get like 70%, and the second team will get some percentage from it, something like that. The other thing is maybe a little bit more communication from the admins. Like, for example, like Watch the Projects decided to not play their last series, and we never heard about it. And there was like a couple of similar issues, like small issues, not that big, but it
They can
like
add
one of the
up.
admins said like, yeah, like one of the admins mentioned like, oh, I don't think it was significant. I'm like, a team dropping out, even though they still have one more series. Potential everybody thought it's going to go 2-0 to Disapog, no offense, but that's what everybody's perspective was. Like, even though this was about to happen, but we would have loved to know, like, yeah, like this team has decided not to play. And
So more communication, maybe some money, and what was your third? It was format, playoff
if
format.
yeah, if we have like more teams for group stage,
Okay.
just move them into 2 groups.
Now, I don't know if you paid attention much of this podcast or any content in the league. What would you? I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this podcast next season. What would you like to see?
Maybe like before the league starts, to have like an idea of the teams,
Okay.
and like start like talking with the players or the team in general. Like what do you think the
So
season's gonna
kind of
happen?
like
Which team?
this season, I did like a captain's thing, letting people know the teams a little bit. Do you want that the same thing, or do you want all 5 teammates together? And
I think all 5 in one Discord is too much. Maybe in real life it's much simple. Maybe like 2 players or 3 players. I think maximum 3. I don't know. Maybe like before the league starts, like when we have all the teams ready, like set up with the roster confirmation, just to talk with each team and get an idea of like
who they are,
what they think is gonna happen, who's gonna win, and so forth. Like similar
so
to like
predictions, kind of, but with the teams predicting like what they want to go or what they think they'll go.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else or?
For now, no. Usually I come with ideas, but at this current moment, that's why I have.
Well, thanks for coming on the podcast, and hopefully, we will see you next season, and hopefully you come back on next season.
Yeah, definitely, and I hope you guys can see us in the finals. I have a good feeling that we're gonna play in the finals.
Good luck with that.
We will see, but just to emphasize, like whatever I was talking about, like Polar Ace incident and whatever, like we don't have like any like feud with them or me or whatever. Like as a couple of my teammates say, like I'm the glue of the team because I don't know, maybe because I'm the oldest player, or
you keep to yourself, you just play the game, and
or I always try to like make the team feels good, like when we get killed, like well played. When somebody dies, like I have like the chat, like relax, you're doing fine, whatever. So I try to keep the morale of the team good.
Okay.
Like yesterday we had a game, and I did like a very silly play, you know, like 2 of them tried to gank me. I was playing Lion, I was very low. I used my first mango, I hexed the first guy, used my second mango, Earth Spike with Lion, and then went to the jungle and suicide, and like started like screaming, and everybody was like, "What the hell's going on?" Like it's a very simple play, but I try like to motivate, whatever, because some teams you'll have like 1 or 2 emotional players. Like if a kill didn't go their way or like a play didn't go their way, it might affect their performance. So I always like try with any small thing that you can to make your team feels better.
Okay.
Like this is like a couple of things that we do different than other teams. One of them is
try to not tilt.
It's not to tilt. For me, I have always that issue. When I used to like draft for teams and be a captain for a team, the moment you hear me silent for more than 5 minutes, you know something is going wrong.
Oh, gosh.
Either I'm not feeling the game, or the game is going south. So for me, always the good thing is to keep talking in the game. Like if somebody is interacting with me, it keeps me thinking like what I need to do, what I'm supposed to do. And I think this is like one of the best things, and especially in this level of play style, is always like to communicate with the team, like every single detail. Like I'm going to take a run, I'm going upwards, I'm going down, blah blah. I think it will help the teams more, and I think that's what we're lacking. Like everybody thinks like, oh, we're playing on EG level. Like you're supposed to know when you should TP here, TP there. It's not gonna come easy. Like you need always to communicate with each other for at least couple of months until everybody knows, like, okay, like for example, I've been playing with Clankers for a long time, but still
let him know what you're doing.
Yeah, like when I need him or when he needs me, like we talk about it, which is like communications is also like very important. And I know like from other stuff, like a lot of casters flamed us on like sometimes on CJ's item choices, like, oh, why the hell is going first item desert later, or why is going first item that, or why is BirdMan have like those items that quickly. Like for us, like we always communicate like which item to go, and like we give information like, okay, like the game is going south, you can't play greedy, you need to play that specific way, because you don't want to come later on, like after the game ends, oh, nobody mentioned to me that your lanes didn't go well, I tried to play greedy because I thought you're doing well. Like how I'm supposed to do, how you're supposed to know that if there's no communication? So this is part like how to make a better team. Is always like communicate with each other, and I think we're doing that on a very good scale. Yeah.
I mean, the results prove that. I think so as well. So.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes like the casual mid game, like it mostly comes from me. I'll be like start like memeing or joking about some play that we did. I don't know if you watch our pack game against Forest, like JT missing a couple of RPs. Like to a point we wanted to pause the game and flame him. That usually does not happen, but you know, it's something to keep like the team going and feeling well. I think this is the best way, like especially if any new team is trying to form, if they listen to those couple of points, I think this will be a good start for a fresh new team.
Well, thanks for talking.
No worries. When I talk, I don't stop. So
no, it's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
You make my job easier. I don't have to do much. Well, thanks for coming on. I'll see you next season. Or maybe I'll do some content later on in the off season. We'll see.
We'll see. Of course, definitely.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, and best of luck finding a new team.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna joke about it, so good luck.
Hands.